Record. And we're back. We're back on YouTube, and we're still working on this song, which I've titled "The Escape," because Iridian Seeker, actually, who does basically all of the graphics that you see on social media, and the intermission screen as well. She's going to be doing graphics for the songs as well, and she's got some cool stuff that we're going to get into after we finish this one. And she did some pretty cool artwork for this song, and we're going with "The Escape." The idea in my head is that I don't know, it's out of a movie, and there's like two people, and they stole like a floppy disk, and it's this dystopian sort of cyberpunk future. It's dark. You've got this mega corporation who is doing bad stuff, and they steal this floppy disk, which is gonna like bring everything down, and they're running, right? They're trying to run when big giant robots are on their tail and stuff like that. Meh Bill is telling me to stop apologizing for talking. I will, thank you. And Iridian Seeker is blushing a little bit because I'm building up how cool she draws, but it's a thing. It's a totally cool thing. She makes some of the most awesome artwork. Yes, she does. Okay, so let's move on. So we've got this big thing. Let's get a hi-hat going. I feel like a hi-hat should be coming on, and also I want to sort of freeze this intro pad so that it's not using up too many resources. I don't think I'm going to come back to it later. I'm going to use a different pad. So we're going to go down here to edit, if I remember this correctly, and I should be able to render in place, render settings. We're gonna go with channel settings because we want to render in place the effects on it as well, so that it takes up less space. The path project folder, that's great. Mute source, and we're gonna render this in place. And it did that thing. Oh, but it rendered the wrong effect. So this is what I want to render, and this is the piece I want to render. And we're gonna go to edit, and we're gonna hit render in place with current settings. Why is it, dude? I want to. Oh, I have to select the clip. Yeah, sorry about that. Render in place with current settings. Do it. There you go. And there's our pad. And I think it's going into the effects. It has nothing on it right now, and we can turn this off completely. Mute it. Intro pad MIDI. This is going to be intro pad render. And it should be without effects. Let's mute the effects as well. Yeah. Sounds like a 90s adventure game. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. And there is nothing wrong with that. I love 90s adventure games. Favorite one? Monkey Island. Second favorite one? Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis. I played that one when I was just a wee lad. And third favorite one, I'm thinking, it's another LucasArts one, I think. But it's not coming to me. So they did Monkey Island, which I love. 1, 2, and 3. I don't know. 3 sometimes gets a bad rap, I think, but Monkey Island 3 is amazing. It has that sort of Disney art style, which is really cool and really detailed. Anyway, yeah, 90s adventure games. They're cool. Play them. Okay. let's get a hi-hat going to get a bit more energy in the next part. I'm gonna go to audio, I'm gonna go to stereo, you're gonna go into percussion, and we're gonna name you Lin hi-hat. Let's add that in. Okay. And again, I'm gonna go over here to our samples. We're gonna go to the BBC Synthwave drums. We're gonna go to hi-hats. We're gonna add in, oh, these are the custom one shots that he did. I want the raw sounds, and we'll sort of change them. Hi-hats, I want the hi-hat and the hi-hat short, and we're gonna add them on the one track, right? We're gonna shift to 16th notes. We're gonna go over here. We're gonna use the shorts as like in between the main accents. We're gonna use the long ones as accents. Now, there's one thing I really do not like. The sound of, really, and that's hi-hats. I like them pretty low in my mix, and you guys can tell me if they're too low, if I'm being just ridiculous. Okay, and I'm gonna go in here and I'm gonna put the hi-hat. Now I like to pan things drummer perspective. Why? I don't know. It's probably because I've played for many years with live drummers, and I'm just so used to imagining that I'm actually playing the drums, the drum parts, right? And I expect my hi-hat to be here. It doesn't matter that much from what I've sort of researched. Most people pan things audience perspective. So like if the drummer were in front of my face, their hi-hat would be over to my right side, while if I'm actually playing the thing, my hi-hat would be on my left side. I don't know. I like it on my left side. It's a thing. It's just a preference. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Okay. Probably gonna get some hate about it. I don't know. And we're gonna do some bypassing, some filtering of the low end out of the hi-hat and a little bit of the extreme high end. Yeah, to make it a bit cleaner. Again, I like my hi-hats quiet. And as for volumes, let's just take a listen and adjust as we go. Let's do this. And yeah, I think that works for me. Also, Pavlos Chester has followed us. Thank you so much. Welcome, Pavlos, if you're in the chat. I don't know. I can see that I have 5 viewers, but I can't see exactly who is in the chat, so I do not know. But cheers. Thanks, man. Okay. So we've got our hi-hat going. We've got some energy going. Let's try and do some interesting stuff. How do we want to do this? So I want to start with the shorts and maybe try to bring in the rest of the orchestra in later. Yeah. Cheers, man. Thanks for the follow. And yeah, you can see it in the right hand part of the UI. Yeah, there's like a button here for users in chat. Huh. We've got a lot more users than actual viewers, which is interesting, but it's cool. Thanks. Cheers. Welcome, everyone. I'm still really new to this streaming stuff. I'm learning with you guys. You guys might know a lot more about it than me. Let's do this. So let's do this. Let's do some automation and bring in these elements slowly. And maybe I'd like to still keep that sort of 4 on the floor, basic D note going on the bass. Just to get that vibe going, yeah? And I'll glue these together. So... You know what? I'm starting to dislike like my initial chord progression. Like the more I listen to this basic like sort of D note, the more I hate my chord progression for some reason. I think I'm gonna move it out of the way, and I think we're gonna sort of change this song a little bit. I don't know. How do you guys feel? Did you like that chord progression? That initial sort of chord progression? Let's try and make it work a little bit and see how we feel. So I'm gonna bring in the cello a little bit right over here. That's the contrabass. Never mind, that's good as well. And bring in the cello as well. Let's bring in the rest of the orchestra, the rest of the strings, sorry, and then we'll try to do some brass as well if we're sticking with this. Yeah. And sort of bring this up. I don't know. Chat, what do you think? I mean, do we like this chord progression? I'm starting to not feel it right now. Maybe we can just move it to the side and we'll try something else right now and we'll see how that feels later on. Mech, don't worry about the follow, my friend. Thank you so much for giving it either way. Cheers. And welcome, Pavlos. Welcome in the chat. Cheers. Alrighty then. So I'm gonna move this around. I don't know. I'm starting to not feel it. I'm gonna move these synths as well. And we're not gonna lose them. We're probably gonna bring them back a bit later on. But for now, we're gonna stick with our basic bass line. That just sounds, yeah, okay. Okay, and we're gonna do one of my favorite chord progressions, and that is basically the, I think it's like the 6th and the 6th and the 7th. Not that big on theory, to be honest, but that's fine. A lot of people don't know theory. No, in large part. What the heck? Oh, this is not... Come on. Let's do this. Let's move you properly. Why are we getting... Okay. And there you have it. And we want to put in these chords as well on our other bass. Okay. And let's bring on our drums as well. We need to fatten up that kick and snare. I'm starting to dislike it the more I hear it, but that's fine. We'll get to it. We're writing now. We're being creative. We're not thinking about mixing, right? Okay, and then we are going to copy paste this progression. We're going to keep using it because what I want to do is for this sort of first minute, I think it's the first minute, it's we're starting at 35. This whole bit is going to be like a minute 46. I want to get into a vibe, so I want to keep adding sort of elements in slowly but surely and adding in some effects and stuff like that. And then once we're in the once we have the vibe set, then we can get even more epic and get into the sort of chorus of the song, if you will. And we'll see exactly what that is when we get there. Yeah? So I'm going to keep this sort of ostinato going, right, with the strings. Okay. And we want to add, because really the progression isn't important right now. Yeah, really, when you think about it. So keeping it pretty basic, I think is going to help us to get into that vibe. Okay. So let's get a pad going. Let's get a pad going in our actual synth bus. So this is going to be in the synths. And let's open up Retrolog. This is another sort of default Cubase synth. Mac is saying that the initial progression still sounds good to him, though it does have a bit of a sense of heard the thing before. Yeah, well, I'm not going to reinvent the wheel. There are some tried and true like chord progressions that just sound cool, right? And in the end, that's what I'm looking for, whatever like sort of tickles my ear when I'm writing, yeah? It's just specific to synthwave in general anyway. Yeah, well, there's really like maybe three main chord progressions that you're going to hear in synthwave, and everybody is using them and nobody really has a problem with that. We're going to do some crazy stuff because we have the orchestral element, so we can get away with sort of stranger chord progressions. Yeah, so my lord, that was loud. I am so sorry. I'm going to turn it down a notch. Yikes. Is that going to my synths? I think it is. Yeah, okay, so like if we take this dinky ass synth, but yeah, and that sounds terrible, but in an orchestral sense, you can make like a weird chord progression like that work when we have to do like maybe the sort of more aggressive. Yeah, loud. Sorry, I'm so sorry. Damn. Okay, I'll make it even quieter. I'm sorry. There you go. Let's see. Is that better? Is that better? Still loud. Okay, Radiant Seeker, sorry. Yeah, I'm gonna make it like really quiet. This is a pad. This is supposed to be like not this. It shouldn't sound like that. Kind of better. Okay, let's see. Yeah. So like we can go. If that isn't a Super Nintendo boss theme, I don't know what it is. Actually, it reminds me of Final Fight. Mighty Final Fight. I don't know if anybody played that thing where the main characters are kind of like squished like this, like they're babies or something. Anyway, better. Cheers, Pavlos. Okay, so we have this silly sound, but it is sort of retro-wavy, and we like that. I'm gonna change my octave down, and I'm gonna... Okay, so this is in it, and we do not like really in it. It's sort of silly. Why is this being filter? Include results. Where's this? Oh, in it. There it is. Okay. Absolutely 80s bass, synth lead, synth pad. Let's go by category and let's find a nice pad. Synth pad. Rising brass pad. Let's see what this sounds like. I thought the Crazy Frog song would start. Yeah. Silly in it. Yes, indeed it is. Okay, let's see. Strong string. Yeah, I don't really like that. Let's go with the lead, actually. Distorted lead. Yeah, that's not gonna work. I want a lead that I can turn into sort of a pad. Because this is a lead, it has portamento, so you can only play one sort of note, so that's not totally good. Ooh, I like that. But I want to take out the flanger from it, so I'm gonna go to effects and I'm gonna stop mod effects. That riser is really, really interesting. So I'm gonna sort of rise and fall. That's really interesting. So I'm gonna put supermassive on it, because why wouldn't you? I'm gonna go with reverbs. I like me some reverbs. You know, with splashy synth again. I'm gonna do basically like a big chord with like really heavy handed velocities, and let's see how that sounds. So we're gonna start with the D. And it's gonna be a D minor, so we're gonna have like the F. Let's see how that sounds. You know what? That's cool as sort of a background stuff, but it's not cool as my main sort of lead. But that's fine. We're gonna keep it in the background. And we're gonna bring up an Anna 2 lead that I know sounds cool. You know, when writing songs, like, I usually just fumble around with presets and change some parameters and stuff like that. And sometimes you end up somewhere cool. Sometimes you end up somewhere where it's not that cool, like this case. But you still use it, because you did it. And if you did it, put it in the song and just turn it down a notch so that it's not that loud. If it's not a cool sound, let's say this isn't a great sound, it's sort of cool, but it doesn't really fit exactly with what I had in my mind. So let's see, I'm gonna call this pad 01 and I'm gonna give it a color and I'm gonna put it in the background as a sort of atmospheric type thing. And we're gonna add in another instrument and we're gonna go to Anna 2, because Anna 2 has some really cool presets that we can use. Synth Anna 2, especially like tailor-made for synthwave. And we're gonna go to the leads and the analog collection, and we're gonna go power saw lead. That sounds killer already. I like it so much, actually. And we're gonna send it to the synths, and that's good. And we're gonna call this sort of lead 01. I'm gonna give it like a color. And we're gonna put it afterwards. And see how that sounds. Oh my lord, that was loud. What the heck? It's the mod wheel that's screwing it up, isn't it? So modulation. I'm sorry out there if that was too loud. Why are you so loud? It wasn't that loud when we tested it, right? I wasn't, like, I'm not going nuts. Okay. Okay, and what I want to do is I want to change, like, the input volume. Let's see if we can do that. More. Input filter. Pre-gain. Yeah, I want to change that. Why do I want to change that, you're probably asking. You'll see. Basically what I want to do is I want to turn down the actual synth, but still keep a delay tail that I'm gonna put in. And let's set this back to 0. And just turn this down a notch. And we're gonna do the same thing over here. There it is. Why is it not on beat though? Let's do this. Okay, there we are. Let's see if that actually works. Yeah, that's sounding pretty cool to me. Let's make the synth change with the chord progression. It's really basic stuff so far, and I know, and probably it's not that whoa, but we are going to get there. This needs like a note. It needs, so it's going from down to the but let's bring in a note. Let's do that's basically what we want to do, and we want to, I don't know, maybe the note should be higher. So if I go basically like that'd be cool, I think. Let's see if we can put in that higher note, but make it really quieter. Okay. And let's bring back that low note, because we like that low note. That low note is basically a sort of you know, the Inception type sound, but it's on synth. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We do like our low notes. Again, I'm a fan of gent music, so we do like our low notes. Let's see how that sounds. Let's do it like this. We don't want the high notes over here. We'll put them on the orchestra. They sound too ear scratching something on this synth particularly. Cool. Now, what else do we want to do to this sound? We want to put in that delay, okay? Let's put in that delay. So we're going to go to delay. We're going to use the sort of built-in Cubase delay. It works great, the ping pong delay. And we're going to do it with synced to the half bar, right? Let's see how that sounds. Yeah, you hear that delay going? Check it out. Right, and currently it's basically like a distorted, you can think of it as like a distorted guitar or distorted synth. It's just there to kind of beef up the song. And we can make it even cooler if we go about putting in some actually stereo enhancer, which is again a built-in plugin for Cubase. And we can just turn it up just a notch, just a little bit with a little bit of delay and color to make it sound wider. And we also need to do another thing, which is clean up some of the low end, because it's messing up with our bass, right? And our kick, and we don't want that. So we just want to cut a little bit out of that extreme sort of stuff. And we'll do it like a gentle cut so that we still retain some of that bassy character. Okay, let's see. Okay. I think it's working so far. We are starting to get a vibe. Now let's bring in the strings, and then we'll bring in the brass, and we'll do big Inception Brahms and stuff like that, which I think are gonna please a lot of you. How are we, chat? How are we doing? Are we still there? You guys still alive? Still with me? Yep. Cheers, Iridian Seeker. Thanks once again for being a mod and making sure things are going smoothly. Thank you. Yeah. Cheers, Pavlos. Cheers, mate. Okay, let's get some strings in. I think that's too low. Actually, we are muted. Never mind. There we go. This is high. Okay, and once again, no follow alert. Andy? Yeah, there is a follow alert. Usually it shows up. Wait, I have the whatchamacallit, the mini feed also on. So you should be getting like an alert over here in this part of the sound. So if that's not showing up, maybe try refollowing or something. But cheers if you followed already. Thanks. And welcome. And I've also got oh look, a bot. Hey, Iridian Seeker, do you want to practice that ban hammer? I think that's what you do to bots on Twitch, right? You ban them. And maybe sort of I can actually delete that message as well. I can ban him and delete the message. I'll delete the message, and if it pops up again, we'll do the ban hammer. Oh, there it is. Platfus BB, thank you for the follow, mate. Cheers. Dude, this is amazing. Like, seriously, we've been streaming for almost 2 hours now. This is the first time I've ever streamed. We're getting followers. People, like, you guys are watching. This is amazing. Like, really, I don't know how to say this, but really, thank you so much for your time, and thank you for stopping by. Cheers. It really means a lot. And we're going to be doing this every week from now on, hopefully, if everything goes well. Lovelies. And I would thank you even more, but I don't want to cry on stream. I don't think that's very cool. Sorry. let's record some strings, and then we'll catch up with chat again. So yeah, exactly. I'm only allowed to cry behind the scenes. Cheers, Iridian. Once we go off stream, I'll probably be like a mushy mess. Okay, let's do this. Let's do some contras. Not doing it right because I want to start with the contras from halfway, number one, and also I want to do the modulation again. I want to do the modulation as well, and I also need to turn on my click before hitting record. There's a novel idea. Okay, let's do this first part, and then we'll see what we can do. Okay, so the contras, I know they're really quiet, but once we bring in everything, you'll see exactly what I'm going for. Just a second. Let me get... Okay. Okay, and now that we're actually recording like strings, I can actually get to talking about how do we do arrangements for strings, because it's a huge topic. A lot of new people don't know how to handle that, and to be honest, I'm not 100% sure already. And when starting out, it was such a nebulous thing. I would just put in all the notes on all the instruments and just go nuts. If we've got some old fans of what I did with my band a while ago, that first album, and you know exactly what I mean by that. That was basically done that way, and it's pretty crazy. So what are we doing? We are basically, after I finish moving this modulation, and I'll talk a bit about what this modulation is in just a second. I'm moving it back because we've got huge lag on stream, but it's fine. Right. So the first thing is that you have to think about all of your sections in sort of batches, right? So you see the greens sections. This is actually how an orchestra would traditionally sit and sorry, hold on. My webcam is dying. Well, hold on just a sec. Streaming. It's such a cool thing, because things always go wrong when streaming. Right. You guys can see me, can still hear me all right? Okay. So, as I was saying, this will be really fun when uploaded to YouTube, by the way. So, you have to think of... you see all here in here that this is how an orchestra would sit traditionally on a stage, right? And you've got all these sections over here, and they're color coded because they go together, right? You've got all your strings over here, you've got all your sort of wind instruments over here, percussion up in the back, and on the sides you've got brass instruments, right? And each of them, in my opinion, how I do it, each of them should sort of tell their own story in layers, right? So for the strings, for example, you'll have basses playing low notes over here, contrabasses, then cello, then cello playing kind of the same thing as the contrabasses but an octave up, then the violas, which I sometimes use to play the fifths as well to sort of beef up that mid-range, and then you've got violins 2 and violins 1 on top, right? And each of these could also be playing like the same thing and it'll sound great because they have different timbres. They sound different, and when they're all playing even the same thing together, that's it's still gonna sound massive and really, really cool. Actually, the more notes you put in it and the more complicated you make this arrangement, the more sort of diffuse it'll sound. And really think of each major section as a sort of chord. Everybody's like, each section is playing a chord. So the way I'm doing it for this part is that, again, I have the contrabasses and the cello. If you look over here, you can see these are the contrabasses and this is the cello, and they're just playing the same thing an octave apart. Which, if I did it right, they should, just a second, let me move these over to be more on time. That would be great, thank you. And let's move the modulation as well, and I'll talk a little bit about the modulation as well, what the heck this is, because it looks crazy, right? This just looks silly. And if I just solo the contrabasses and the cello, you can see how they sound together. Does that not sound amazing? Like, to me, it's such a simple thing, but it sounds freaking amazing. I love this sound. And another thing to mention here is that what I'm using for these is BBC Symphony Orchestra Discover, and it's free. Like, that's just crazy. That's what? And this is the actual BBC orchestra playing that you're hearing for free. You can get it for free on their website. It's nuts. Like, you get it for free in 14 days after you complete a survey. You just have to go to their site, fill in a survey, and you can get this library for free. And it's like 200 megabytes or 300 megabytes. What? I don't know. Now, let's talk a little bit about the modulation. What the modulation does over here that you see is basically it's capturing my mod wheel on the keyboard. You can't see it very well, but yeah. Or actually, never mind. You can control, you can capture this with the mod wheel. And what it does is that it controls, for more professional libraries that you would buy, it would control actually the sort of how loud the player is playing or how aggressively, right? And it would actually switch between what are called articulations, right? And each articulation is a way of playing, basically. And it just gets louder and louder the more this modulation goes up. In BBC Symphony Orchestra Discover and in a lot of free stuff, this isn't that detailed. And in our case, it just controls volume. It doesn't have like different recordings for each articulation, but it'll do the job just fine, as you can hear, right? And you can see that if I just select these two, and again I hit play. Yeah, look at the look at the modulation. And you can hear that it's getting louder and then quieter and softer and then louder again, right? It's breathing. And that's how you make libraries like this sound more realistic. It's not 100% realistic. Again, this is just a free library, but still it sounds amazing. But this is basically, and I'm not sponsored, by the way. I guess I have to say that. I am not sponsored by anyone at this point in time. Okay? I'm sharing what I like, what gets me excited. Cheers, man, about that. Yeah, I missed Excited Dan too, actually. I'm just sharing what makes me excited and what I like to hear and what I like to play with, my toys. Yeah. So here, look at the modulation. There'll be probably a bit of lag, and try to hear how the sound is changing. Yeah, it's got that sort of Hans Zimmerish vibe. That's one of the things when I think about Hans Zimmer. I think about this really big low end with like contrabasses and cello. Really like this sound. I really like this vibe. I like low notes, and I really dig this library. It really sort of reignited my passion for orchestral music, really, or film music. Let's say film music. I won't say orchestral music because really. I'm not a classical composer. I'm barely a composer, but it's fine. Let's finish up the string section, and then I'm gonna put in a cut for YouTube, and we can hang around in chat a little bit more. Yeah, maybe we can take a tiny little break, and then we can stream for like an hour or two more. Yeah. All righty then. Soundtrack music. Yeah, that's exactly what I mean. Okay, so I won't actually write it. I'll try to record it. Violas should be up here. Really, really quiet violas. Oh, that's because my mod wheel is down. And I'm gonna play with the fifths as well of the chords. All I'm doing right now is building up a chord in the whole string section. That's all I'm doing. It's nothing fancy, but hopefully it'll sound cool. Okay, and I know I don't know if there's someone in the chat who actually has a lot more experience in this than me, and it's probably a lot of people. You'll probably see that my modulation is very dirty, and my playing is definitely not perfect. Like you can see the notes over here, but it doesn't really matter. I've found at least to my ears, because the sloppier it kind of sounds, the more natural it sounds in a way. And we can go in and fix tiny problems where you would actually like things to be more precise, like if it's a fast bit or something like that. But since we're doing just chords and slowly swelling up the orchestra, it's really not that big of a deal right now. Okay, and our violins are gonna come up. Where are they gonna come up? They're gonna come in. So these are violins too. Okay, I kind of forgot what notes I wanted to play, but now I remembered. It's fine. We can do this. Yeah, you remember those notes we tried to do basically earlier on the synth, and it sounded, I won't say terrible, but not great, not great. Gotta say, not great. That's what we're doing here on the orchestra. That's what I said, that I'm gonna bring it back for the strings. Yeah. Okay. No, Pavlos, I love you. Okay. Okay, I need to switch my octave up. Okay, let's see how that sounds. Yeah. Okay, let's quantize this. Let's get this. No, I don't want to quantize. I want to keep the imperfections. I just want the first note to come in here because we want it to be okay. And there was a little bit of messy modulation over here because I wanted to do this and then that, and then this needs to go down a little bit. By the way, if you're doing orchestral stuff, this tool right here, I stole from Daniel James's stream. I saw him using it a lot. It's really cool for drawing modulation. It's amazing what you can do with it, and you just need to add it in here with the setup. I think that's how I got it in there. I have to remember, but it is a really cool feature. It's the parabola. So any Cubase users out there, or even other DAWs, like, you need this to write modulation much easier and cooler. Okay, let's see how that sounds. Let's play it from the beginning, shall we? This is what we have so far. Okay, we're gonna cut it for YouTube right here. Thank you so much for watching on Twitch, on YouTube, wherever you are, wherever you're seeing this. Thank you so much. I think we've got a pretty cool sound going so far. It's starting to get there. There's just one thing I like to do before I sign off for YouTube, and that's get these strings louder, bigger. We need them to just sound massive, don't we? And in order to do that, I'm gonna put in some sort of parallel aggressive compression. And we have to be very, very careful with strings. We don't want them to be sort of distorted, because that's gonna change the character too much. That's gonna sound terrible. But we do want that parallel, just a tiny bit of parallel compression. The way we're going to do that is we're going to use the FG Bomber right here, and we're going to go with this Vocals 3D sort of. No, we're not going to use this one. Sorry, we're going to go with the Monster. That's what we want. We want the Monster. Right here, we're going to go with a preset, and we're going to go with Vocal Warm and Big, and we're going to turn it down. And I'm going to play around with it, and you'll be able to hear what it's doing. I'll solo the strings so far, and you'll see what it does. Okay, I'll put this on repeat. And this is, again, from the Slate pack, right? And it sounds really, really cool, and it's pretty cheap. Just a monthly subscription. You hear how that's breaking up because the compressor is just frickin' pinned. We need to turn down the input a little bit to give it a little bit of breathing space. Right? Let's fix this needle, right? Right? And you can hear that the compression is there, and it's doing too much. It's doing just too much work. So we just bring it down in the mix until we can hear that it's adding a little bit, but not too much. Yeah, and you can hear that the strings, even though it's not the full orchestra, at least the strings so far are starting to get more three-dimensional, right? They're starting to bring in that extra sort of oomph and dimension and space to the sound, right? It's not just I'm going with a dinky sort of. I know my drums sound really dinky, but those strings are adding so much, and you've got the sort of electronic sort of space in the middle, but then the strings are starting to come in. And we will accentuate that further when we will start messing about in the next sort of video, in the next block, in the next hour for us here on Twitch, with mastering, as well as adding in the other components of the orchestra, right? And doing a little bit of tweaking and mixing. So thanks. And I should really stop bumping my mic, really. Come on, Dan. Be a professional. Come on, you can do this. Thank you so much for tuning in on YouTube, and thank you for being here on Twitch. I'll stop the video for YouTube, and then we'll take a look at the chat. Cheers.